is the most inspirational award. This was the first trophy we had at BCI Rowing. Again, it dates back to 2008. To present this trophy, we have Mr. Paul Roach and Mr. Toto also say a few words, but I'd like to bring up Mr. Paul Roach, who's the founder of BCI Rowing, to say
I'm going to be brief, but I'm really touched to see this room full and see some former rowers come back who are off at different colleges around the country. To see some of the other founders, like Skip right here, Jeff Toto, that first year was really special. Some of the parents. To say that I'm shocked that you folks are doing as well as you are would be a lie. I'm a little surprised, based on the humble beginnings that we had. We weren't sure that it was really going to ever be what it is right now, and certainly so quickly. I'm going to let Jeff Toto talk about the bull oarsmen, but I just want to put something in perspective here. The opportunity to row at the Royal Henley Regatta is phenomenal, and it's unlikely that most of you will ever have the opportunity to do that again. That's just a fact. But there's some history here. BC High, I see your jerseys, shirts, 1863. What was going on in 1863? It's the Civil War, right? You also had the Irish immigration, right? The reason this school was really created was because the Irish immigrants were treated like dirt, frankly. And so we needed to create our own school because places like Exeter and Andover and Kent and all these places wanted nothing to do with the riffraff, right? You had the Irish brigades fighting in the Civil War, formed up with Irishmen who wanted to prove their loyalty to this country. Well, you kind of fast forward and you go to 1920, and you get Jack Kelly, arguably the greatest rower in the history of this country. Jack Kelly ended up being the mayor of Philadelphia and a very wealthy businessman, masonry company founder. His daughter ended up, was a great actress, Grace Kelly, Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco. Beautiful. And see, Jack Kelly, when he started out, he was an apprentice and he worked with his hands. And he was also an Irish Catholic, wink, wink. So those powers that be at the Henley decided that because he had worked with his hands, he wasn't allowed to row at the Henley. And so he was, basically his entry was denied in 1920. Well, what did he do? He went on to the Olympics in 1920 and smoked them. He won the single scull and the double scull, 2 gold medals. And then the following 4 years in Paris at the Olympics, he beat him again. And, I'm not saying that you should have a chip on your shoulders because this is a whole different place than it was back in 1863. But it's a real privilege to be at Henley, and I know that you all conduct yourselves with incredible dignity and carry yourselves with a little bit of pride and understand how important it is to represent the school well over there. And every day, every night between now and then, when you're making decisions on how to spend your time, think about it, because this is one race that I never rode in, and it's I think our guest speaker never rode. He was a captain at Harvard, never had that opportunity. This is very special, gents, so go for it. Now, without further ado, the bull oarsman.
On the actual award here, it says, most inspirational award, given to a BC High oarsman or coxswain whose bullish determination inspires his teammates to push themselves to new heights. This athlete bends his oar or steers the river in anonymity, fully embodying selfless virtues of BC High student athletics. And this award goes to a young man who came to us 4 years ago, and we actually heard about him before he joined our team. Sort of rumors began to spread in that fall, this freshman. There was this freshman out there who was different and special. And this kid showed up and was actually pretty good. And the coaching staff so gave him the nickname the franchise. This kid was we were really pin our hopes to for the next couple of years. And I had the pleasure of having this kid in class and in English 1. And I was always impressed by his work ethic. And English 1 did not come easily to him. It's not ironic that we were reading Odyssey, stories of an arduous homecoming from Troy. And I think that in some ways, this young man's efforts to comprehend that poem were only slightly less difficult than the actual journey home from Troy itself. I remember being in the Jacksonville airport after our train trip there that first winter, and there was a plane that had just arrived from somewhere, and on it was emblazoned a much larger than life-size picture, portrait, landscape, if you will, of one of those swimsuit girls in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. And most of our team flocked to the windows and were just going crazy. And some of them at the time spread some vicious rumors that there were actually these models as flight attendants. Massive nicely. But this kid, to look over the way, whatever, and then kept on doing what he was doing. What he was doing was reading his Odyssey. And we sort of did this kind of impromptu sort of tutorial in the terminal. And this kid was soaking in everything he could. Some kids were going off to go to Hudson News to buy a bunch of Twizzlers or whatever. And they wanted him to come with. And he says, no, I gotta run this. I gotta do this right now. And I was really struck by that. And from there, he's been just one of our best and hardest workers. And there's a great song by Woody Guthrie, who's one of the founding American musicians, which is a folk legend. He actually wrote Shipping Up to Boston, which you guys all know and like. And the song is called Hard Work. And one of the lines in it is that the only work I've had has been hard work. And this is a kid who has never once shied away from hard work. There have been times when he should have shied away from hard work, when he had some sort of vicious goose poop infected hole in his pond that became something he had to go to the hospital for in Texas. And despite the coaching staff's admonishments that he should be wary of any sort of spreading red blotching, he kind of toughed it out. And all joking aside, it was not a very fun moment. It was actually pretty scary. But that kind of speaks to this kid's just determination to give it his all the time. When I think about rowing, and I think about what Mr. Feeney said earlier, that the rewards are often intangible. You're not going to get a huge contract like Rob Gronkowski just did. Gronkowski's awesome. I'm not getting him, he's great. But that's never going to happen if you're going to row. And even if you're the best rower alive, it's not going to happen. And one of the greatest books written about rowing is called The Amateurs. And the word amateur has something to do with not being professional or not getting money. It comes from the Latin amare, which means to love. And I think that no kid I've met has loved rowing as much as this one. And his love of rowing and of burritos and of hard work is something I always remember, and I think I speak on behalf of all the coaches that it's really been a pleasure to coach this kid and see his hard work every day. So the 2012 Bull Oarsman Most Inspirational Award goes to Matt Cole.